Hey guys, I could app that here, and Apple just released the iOS 5 GM, which pretty much means it's the Gold Master, and anybody can actually get this. I might make a video on it, I might not, I don't know yet, but basically I'm going to go through a run through of everything that iOS 5 has. And basically, I've been using iOS 5 for the past 3, 4, maybe 5 months, and I think it's like really good, so I just want to go ahead and share this with you guys. So first of all, I think the most notable part is notifications. Now you have this thing called Notification Center. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you have this thing called Notification Center, which pretty much improves a lot on what we had on notifications before. Now what I mean by that is, okay, so that's the perfect example right there. What I mean by that is notifications are now unobtrusive like they used to be. Notifications used to just pop up and stop whatever you're doing. Now they just flip down from the top and get stored in Notification Center. So that's really nice. You can also customize that in the Settings app. You go to Settings and then you go to Notifications, and then you can customize whatever's in your Notification Center and then how it works and stuff. Now on top of that, in Notification Center you do have two widgets. It is the stock widget and is the he keeps messaging me, but anyway, it is the stock widget and it is the weather widget. I actually took the stock widget out because I don't use it, so I just keep weather in there. But I think that's kind of foreshadowing on Apple allowing other widgets in there, allowing developers to make widgets and putting widgets in the Notification Center. And I would like if Apple did that. I would like if they made it so you could only have two widgets, so you would have to choose wisely what widgets you want to have. But then again, you could have different kinds of widgets you could like rotate. So that's notifications. On top of that, you have lock screen notifications. Yeah, it's not going to come up because I was already in it. But lock screen notifications basically pulls an icon up and then you drag it to the side and it actually allows you to go to the app, and then you can go ahead and go straight to the app rather than having to go type in your passcode and all of that. So it's just for convenience matters, you know, like what notifications does. So moving on to the next thing, I think is probably the next most notable, is it being PC free. And what I mean by that is you no longer have to connect to a PC at all. So this is accounting for integration with iCloud, Wi-Fi sync. You can actually restore and upgrade by yourself, and this is all via the General tab. So as you'll see is software update. You're not going to find anything because I'm running the latest version. But yeah, I don't know why it wasn't allowing me to. But software update basically allows you to update over the air. And what that means is it downloads the update straight to your iPod and then updates on your iPod, and you'll get the screen where it turns off and then gets the loading bar under the Apple. Now, this is a great way to update. I think Apple kind of lagged behind on this, especially behind Android. But you know, nonetheless, it is a very welcome feature, and I think Apple did great on it. So the next thing we have is usage, and this again goes into being PC free. And basically what this lets you do is it lets you monitor all of your music and apps straight from your device. And then you have iCloud. I'll get into that in a second. But if I wanted to delete my music library, I could just go like that and it would delete it. Now of course I'm not going to want to do that, but again, it'll allow you to. So you before weren't allowed to do that. So now moving on to iCloud, manage storage. It shows my iPod and then it shows how much iCloud storage I have. You can of course buy more storage, and it shows how much my mail is using. Now basically what this lets you do is, actually I'm going to go into the iCloud tab in settings. There it is. And basically what this allows you to do is there's this thing called Photo Stream. I'm going to get into it in a second, but it stores everything in the cloud and it pushes everything to it wirelessly, and you of course can have your email address linked to it, and it can sync all of these things between your Mac, your Windows PC, and your other iOS devices. And my favorite part of this is probably storage and backup. What this lets you do is it allows you to back up your iPod or iPhone to the iCloud, and it basically gives a second copy of your iPod or whatever, not storing your apps or music, just storing your settings, so that when you do restore via a software update or something like that, you can just go to iCloud and go ahead and pull that up and restore from a backup there, and it'll restore all of your settings if you ever need to restore. Now as you can see, it doesn't take long at all, backs up to the iCloud, and then it of course shows last backup and such. So that's pretty much iCloud. It again goes along with PC free. Now I think the next most notable thing goes kind of along with iCloud is Photo Stream. Now I did demo it in one of my videos, so I'm not really going to get too much into it. But basically what PhotoStream does is allows you to push photos to all of your devices wirelessly. So these are all the photos I have in PhotoStream from tests, but if I were to add, say, this one to PhotoStream, add to existing album, PhotoStream, it's probably already in there. No. But anyway, I'll figure that out later. But if I were to add that to PhotoStream, then I could get it on my Mac, and it'd pop up on my Mac, and I'd be able to do that. So I'm going to be using that a lot when I get an iPhone. Right now I do not have an iPod with a camera, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to demo that too much, or anything with camera features too much in iOS 5. But there is a lot of stuff with cameras in iOS 5. So probably the next most notable thing is Wi-Fi sync, and again this goes along with PC free. Now if I were to go into general and I were to go into Wi-Fi sync, it searched for my MacBook Pro, and then I could go ahead and sync, and if I tap that syncing button, it'll allow it to go. Now what I think is most special about this is you can A, use your iPod while you're syncing it, and then B, whenever you plug your iPod into a power source, it'll automatically find your Mac and sync to it. So basically, this is really good if you charge your iPod overnight and you leave your computer on, because whatever changes you make on either library, it'll sync back and forth, and then everything will be kind of standard. So it's definitely a welcome feature, because I don't sync very often when I don't feel the need to, and this is kind of just putting syncing in the back of my head and just plugging it in to charge. So that's definitely a very welcome feature, and then on top of that, you'll see it's in the status bar, and when that's done, it'll finish syncing. So moving on is iMessage, which my friend over from England actually kind of demoed notifications for you earlier. I'm just going to message him real quick. Now notice I am using an iPod, and I do have the Messages app. So if I'm going to message him, you're on the video now. The video now. It'll send over Wi-Fi or 3G or anything, and you don't need a texting plan for this. It uses your at.me.com, uses your phone number or something, and as long as you're messaging between any iOS device, it picks up as an iMessage, and you're able to send pictures, you're able to send anything. So if I wanted to send a picture, you just go over, tap that camera icon, and I'm just going to say, you know, that's the time when the street was flooded, and I'm just going to say testing this out. Unfortunately, I can't type for my life on an iOS device, so I'm going to need to get used to that when I get an iPhone. So you see it sends, and it sends pretty quickly, especially for a picture, because, you know, sending it via text message usually takes a very long time. And again, it's probably taking a long time because I'm also syncing at the same time. But just to demo notifications again for you guys, I'm going to exit out of this app, and I'm just going to let him respond whenever he wants to. Okay guys, so moving on to the Twitter support all throughout iOS 5, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to demo that for you guys. So if I go ahead and I, take a photo I really want to share, so I got the Steve Jobs Apple logo here, then I can go ahead and share that pretty easily. All I have to do is tap that down there and click tweet. So it'll be able to connect to your Twitter account as long as you're signed in via system preferences or whatever it's called. I think it's called preferences. But then you can write whatever you want. And I'm going to write Steve Jobs, since he just died the other day, so go ahead and send out a small tribute to him. And I don't know if you guys heard that, but there was like a Tweety Bird whistling sound, and that allows you to notify you that your tweet went through. So this goes throughout Safari if you want to send out a link, throughout YouTube if you want to send out a YouTube link or like a YouTube video or something. And it also shows you, photos, so you can do it with photos. And there you go, my friend from Mabertech actually just answered me back, which is another perfect example how iMessage works and how notifications work and how they both work together. So the next cool app or whatever is Newsstand. Now basically what Newsstand does is it allows you to, it's kind of like iBooks in the manner that whenever you go into a Newsstand store and you subscribe to a magazine, and whenever a new issue of that magazine comes out, I don't really use it, so I'm just basing it off of what they told me, but whenever a new issue of that magazine comes out, it'll automatically download into the Newsstand, and whenever you're ready you can go ahead and you can read that. So that's definitely really nice. It comes in like the folder format, so you don't have to go inside of the app. You can just go ahead, open up the folder, and scroll down throughout your magazines. So that's really nice. It's a really welcome feature for people who read a lot of magazines. I don't really use magazines too much, so I'm not going to be using it. So now the next cool app they have is an app called Reminders. Now basically what Reminders does is if you've ever used an app like Things or an app like To Do or something like that, it's kind of like that except it's free and comes standard with iOS 5. So if I were to want to add a new one, type in a whole bunch of gibberish, press done, then it'll set up a reminder for me, and I can go ahead and go in and change all the preferences of this, and it'll remind me when I tell it to and stuff like that. Now I'm not going to get too deep into this just because I don't use it that much and it's pretty self-explanatory, but that's the Reminders app, and it's basically like an enhanced calendar, like a more precise calendar. So that's Reminders. So guys, that's pretty much all there is for iOS 5, at least for the 3rd gen iPod. I would like to show you some of the camera features, but I can't because I don't have an iPod or an iPhone with a camera yet. I do plan on getting the iPhone 4S. Hopefully it's going to happen. Most likely it's going to happen. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did enjoy this video, could you do me a favor and subscribe? That would be awesome. That really helps. And again, if you did like this video, if you could do me a favor and like the video, I would like that also. That would really help. So guys, if you have any questions or whatever you're feeling about iOS 5, go ahead and leave it down in the comments. I always appreciate that, and I always try and respond as much as I can. And if you guys feel like tweeting me or circling me in your Google+, then those links will be in the description. And also guys, if you have any sort of specific question, then you can go ahead and email me, and that link will be in the description too. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in another video.